Welcome back all of you once again. Now we go for the second session, and in this session we discuss very important part of the cyber forensic. This is the digital evidence. Digital evidence is the important role in the today world regarding the forensic in the field of cyber forensic. So today in this session we cover what objective for this session, definition of the digital evidence, role of the digital evidence, various types of characteristics of the digital evidence, different types of the digital data, base rule, evidence rule. What is the federal rules for evidence? Some we also cover about this. International principle for the computer evidence, the scientific working group on the digital evidence. This is a very good body in the world, SWGD. Important part of also cover electronic devices, types and controlling potential evidence, digital evidence examination, and evidence assessment, acquisition, presentation, how to evidence examination analysis, documentation and reporting, and finally also some part cover about electronic crime, digital evidence consideration by the crime category. So this is object, and we try to this object cover journey during the session. So my session is that complete that all object by this topic: digital data, types of digital data, rules of evidence, electronic devices like type and collecting potential evidence, and digital evidence examination processes, and finally electronic crime and digital evidence consideration by the crime category. So this is the basically main part of the today's session, and complete all objective in ISO in previous slide. So now first we go for digital data. You are all aware of what is the digital data? According to you, please write in the chat box what think about digital data. Anyone, please write what is the digital data? What do you think about digital data? Anyone give be interactive some question? It is very easy and more interactive. Yes, information on internet cloud services. Okay, it's okay. Very nice. Digital data, no. Thank you. And any more? Your answer is okay. According to the standard definition, a lot of definition about digital data. Digital evidence is defined as any information of probative value that is either stored or transmitted in a digital form. Digital information can be gathered while examining digital storage, media, monitoring the network traffic, or making duplicate copies of digital data found during forensic investigation. Overall, you can say digital evidence is found in the files such as like graphics file, audio and video recording and file, internet browsing and history, server logs, word processing and spreadsheet file, email log file, and more. In the today, you can find also social media platform. It is also very good information location. You can easily track regarding human what he can think. In India, psychologically, we can test that person. Help of their social media platform like Facebook, Orkut, LinkedIn. It is a good platform. Okay, so it is also help. Now, what is the importance of increasing awareness of digital evidence? Business are facing need for gathering evidence on their network in reply to the computer crime. Many organizations are taking into account the legal remedies when attacker target their network and focus on gathering the digital evidence in a way that will hold up in court. Government organizations are also paying attention in using digital evidence to identify terrorist activities and prevent future attacks. As a result, there is a greater expectation that computer forensic investigators have complete knowledge of handling digital evidence. So it is a very important awareness in the today world about digital awareness. What is the challenging aspect of digital evidence? Forensic investigators face many challenges while preserving the digital evidence, as it is a chaotic form of evidence and it is critical to handle it correctly. During the investigation, it can be altered, malicious, or unintentionally without leaving any trace. Digital evidence is circumstantial, which make it difficult for a forensic investigator to trace the system activities. It is an abstraction of some event when the investigator performs some tasks on the computer. The resulting activities create data remnants that give an incomplete view of the actual evidence. Now, role of the digital evidence. Role of the digital evidence to stabilize a credible link between the attacker, victim, and the crime scenes. According to the local exchange principle, anyone or anything entering a crime scene takes something of the scene with them and leave something of themselves behind when they live. This is a principle, local exchange principle known. For example, at the time of the crime, if any information from the victim's computer is stored on the server or system itself, the investigator can trace that information by examining log files, internet browsing, etc. So this is the important role of the digital evidence. Now, digital evidence characteristics. It is a very important 5 more major characteristics of the digital evidence. Investigator or first is admissible. Any digital evidence admissible, yes or no? The investigator ought to give proof in admissible manner, which implies that it ought to be relevant to the case, act the support of the shopper presenting it, and be communicated and non-prejudicial. Second is authentic. It's terrible, straightforward to govern digital proof that raise queries of its position. Therefore, investigators should offer supporting document concerning the genuineness of the proof with detail like supply and its relevancy to the case. If necessary, they have to conjointly furnish detail like author of the proof or path on transmission. Third character is the complete. The proof should be completed, which implies that should either prove or contradict that accordant reality with the proceeding. If the proof failed to try to thus, the court is vulnerable to dismiss the case citing lack of the studied proof. So it is very important if we make any digital evidence, so it should be completed, no but and but. Now reliable. Next characteristic, the fourth is the reliable. The forensic specialist ought to extract the handle, the proof, whereas maintaining a record of the task performed throughout the method to prove that the proof is dependable. Forensic investigators should be conducted solely on the copies of the proof. As result of the court must have the first proof of future reference. And finally, last characteristic is the investigator, believable. That is the believable. Investigator and prosecutors should give the proof in a very clear and comprehensible manner to the members of jury. They have to justify the fact clearly and acquire associate professional opinion on a similar to verify the investigation method. So these are the characteristics of the digital evidence. Now, fragility of the digital evidence. Digital evidence is fragile in nature by default. Second is that during the investigation, the crime scheme, if the computer is turned off, the data which not saved on the not saved can be lost permanently. After the incident, if a user write any data to the system, it may overwrite the crime evidence. If the computer is connected to the internet, the person involved in the crime may delete the evidence by the deleting the log file. So this is the also keep in the mind is the very important fragility of digital evidence. Everything in the life is also same manner. So cyber forensic is also in the same manner. Now ADF, anti-digital forensic, is a very important. What is the approach? ADF is an approach to manipulate, erase, obfuscate the digital data. It makes forensic examination difficult, time-consuming, or impossible. Category of ADF. First is the whipping, overwriting data and metadata. It destroys any potentially incriminating data by multiple overwrite. Zero or random number are used to override the actual data. Zero is a very important role, not only our life, it is every change scenario in digital record. Exploitation of bugs in the forensic tool. Forensic imaging and analysis tool are programmed to misread the file. It is a very big fact. For example, text file may be read as an executable file. This is the example. In the same manner, obfuscation of the data is intended to confuse the forensic analysis. It is created by the using anonymous remailers to strip the email header information. Bootable USB, CD, DVD is also used to compromise the system or network. Hiding data, cryptography, steganography, and law tech method. This is a lot of various tools in the today's scenario. Yeah, concept that available, you can hide any data. So confidential data is hidden under the image in the form of direct, indirect cryptography, steganography, like this concept used. Message are encrypted using a strong cryptography algorithm, which cannot be decrypted by analysis. Through the low-tech method, data or information is hidden from an examiner. So this is the types of data. What is the data? Data evidence, basically. Actually, topic related to the data evidence. So everything my focus, and you also focus, all questions, all information, all message related to the cyber forensic data evidence. So now here are types of digital data, that means digital data evidence. Okay. So first we go for understood different types of data. Volatile data. What is the meaning of volatile data? This is the common word in our IT sector, computer sector. Volatile data refer to the temporary data on a digital devices that need a counting, power providing, and it is deleted if the facility provided is interrupted. For example, the RAM store most volatile data and discard it once the device is converted. Important volatile knowledge including system time log, unusers, open files, network data method, process to process, port mapping, method, memory, writing board, content, etc. Same in a position, non-volatile data refer to the permanent knowledge keep on the secondary storage devices like address, disk, and memory card. Non-volatile does not rely on the power provided and remain intact even when the device is converted. Important keep in non-volatile including hidden file, slack area, swap file, index.file. If you all are, I think, from technical background, so I think this word is familiar to all of you. Now the next is the transition data, third type. Transition data contain information such as open network connection, user logout, program that reside in memory and caches data. If the machine is turned off, all this information lost permanently. Fragile data. Fragile data is that information that is temporarily saved on the hard disk and can be changed. It contain information such last stamp like it's it. And more types of data is the temporary accessible data. Temporary accessible data are stored on the hard disk and accessible only for certain time. Any example regarding this? Have any government temporary accessible data? Audience participant request, if you have any information regarding temporarily access data, so please write in the chat box. For example, any example, any in your mind? I will continue. If you have any answer, so please give in chat box. Okay. Okay. Now active data. Active data is the data presently used by the parties for their daily operation. This data is direct and straightforward to the recognize and access using the current system. Archival data, manage data for long-term storage and maintain record. Backup data. Backup data refer to a copy of the system data. This data can be used at any time recovery process after disaster or system crashes. In India, if national level, we can see there are 4 zonal data centers: North India, South India, East and West. And for example, in a real scenario, North data is stored in the Chandigarh. Chandigarh is the famous location in the Punjab state of India. And second is the Bangalore. It is also popular location of India. Third is Hyderabad. And last is the Kolkata. So this is the real in the India very big data center. So every data, one data, and their second is for Chandigarh. Their DR site is the Karnataka, that is the Bangalore, and Bangalore DR site is the Chandigarh. If any mishappening Chandigarh site due to the disaster or any other issues, so definitely we can recover data from the another location. So same manner, Kolkata and Hyderabad. Okay. So this is the backup data. You can say mostly in the local level computer is also, and high level, national level, state level, all types. So mostly it is possible. Now, some data is the residual data. So that data is stored on a computer when document is deleted is called residual data. When a file is deleted, the computer tags the file space instead of the cleaning the file memory. The file can retrieve until the space is reused. And next is the metadata. Metadata maintains a record about a particular document. The record includes the file format and how, when, and who created, save the modified the file. So this is the types of different types of data, and it help knowledge of help types of different data. You can collect the evidence. Now we go for the what is the rule of the digital evidence. So first we know what is the meaning of evidence, and we can go ahead. Evidence that is to be presented in the court must compile with the establish the rule of evidence. Prior the investigation process, it is important that the investigator understand the rule of the evidence. Rule of evidence govern where, when, how, and for what purpose proof of the case may be placed before trier a fact of consideration. The trier of fact may be a judge or a jury, depending on the purpose of the trial and choice of the party. Best rule is established to prevent any alternate turn of digital evidence, either intentionally or unintentionally. It states that the court only allow the original evidence of a document, photograph, or recording at the trial rather than a copy, but the duplicate will be allowed as an evidence under the some condition. What condition? Original evidence destroyed due to the fire, flood, like this. Original evidence destroyed in the normal courses of the business. Original evidence is possession of the third party. Otherwise, always need the real data, original data. The rule shall be constructed to ensure fairness in admission, examination of unjustifiable expense and delay, and promotion of the growth and development of the law of evidence, to the end that the truth may be ascertained, a proceeding justified, determined. Now here federal rules is also here. This is the example to help to you. General in your country, what is the rules? So now example for federal rule. So in this federal rule, the first is the effect of the erroneous ruling. Error may not be predicate upon a ruling which excluded evidence. Useless substantial right of the parties is affected. Objection: in case the ruling is one admitting evidence, a timely objection or motion to strike appear of record, stating the specific ground of objection. If the specific ground was not apparent from the contest. Next, offer of proof. In case the ruling is one excluding evidence, that substance of the evidence was made known to court by offer or was apparent from the context within which question were asked. This is the effect of erroneous ruling, the first very important rule. Second is that record of offer and ruling. The court may add any other or other further statement which show the character of the evidence, the form in which it was offered, the objection made, and the ruling thereof. It may direct the making of an offer in question and answer form. Third rule is hearing of jury. Proceedings shall be conducted to the extent practicable so as to prevent inadmissible evidence from being suggested to the jury by any means, such as making a statement or offer of proof or asking question in the hearing of the jury. Next rule is the plain error. Nothing in this rule preclude taking notice of plain error affecting substantial right, although they were not brought to the attention of the court. Limited admissibility. When evidence that is admissible as to one party or for one purpose, but not admissible to another party or for another purpose is admitted, the court, upon request, shall restrict the evidence to its proper scope and instruct the jury accordingly. Next is the hearsay rule. This rule, hearsay is a statement other than one made by the declarant while testifying at the trial of hearing, offering in evidence to prove the truth of the matter assault. It is not admissible except as provided by this rule or by other rule prescribed by the Supreme Court pursuant to statutory authority or by act of the Congress. A statement that are not hearsay, some like prior statement by witness, admission upon by party opponent. This is a very three important federal rules of evidence in the sequence in another manner. Now, some definition defined in the federal rule: contents of writing, recording, and photograph. So, writing and recording consist of letter, words, or number, or their equivalent, set down by handwriting, typewriting, printing, photostating, photographing, magnetic impulse, mechanical or electronic recording, or other form of data compilation. Photograph. In photograph include photographs, X-ray film, video tapes, and motion picture. Original. An original of a writing or recording is to the writing of recording itself or any counterpart intended to have the same effect by a person executing or issuing it. Now, duplicate. A duplicate is the counterpart produced by the same impression as the original, or form the same matrix, or by means of photography, including enlargement and maintenance, or by mechanical or electronic recording, or by chemical reproduction, or by other equivalent technique that accurately reproduce the original. This is the federal rule. Now we go for the IOCE, International Organization on Computer Evidence. The International Organization on Computer Evidence established in 1995. The purpose of this organization is to be provide a forum to global law enforcement agencies for exchanging information regarding cybercrime, investigation, and other issues associated with the computer forensic. IOC developed a services for direct communication member agencies and arrange many conferences to establish a strong relationship. When dealing with digital evidence, all of the general forensic and procedural principle must be applied as per IOC. Next, upon seizing digital evidence, action taken should not change that evidence. When it is necessary for a person to access the original digital evidence, that person should be trained for the purpose. Next rule is that all activities relating to the seizing, access, storage, or transfer of the digital evidence must be fully documented, preserved, and available for the review. Next rule, part of the next, an individual is responsible for all action taken with respect to digital evidence, while the digital evidence is in their possession. And the final, any agency that is responsible for seizing, accessing, storing, or transferring digital evidence is responsible for compliance with this principle. So this is the fundamental principles for digital evidence. So one by one I share here through PPT and also explain. Now next very important group for the in case of digital evidence, this is the SWGDE, Scientific Working Group on Digital Evidence. It's a very big and powerful organization. You can take a group. So the SWGDG brings together organization actively engaged in the field of digital and multimedia evidence to foster communication and cooperation, as well as to ensure quality and consistency within the forensic community. Principle for this group, in order to ensure that the digital evidence is collected, preserved, examined, or transferred in a manner safeguarding the accuracy and reliability of the evidence, law enforcement and forensic organization must have stabilized and maintain an effective quality system. A standard operating procedure of SOP or document quality control guidelines that must be supported by the proper case record and broadly accepted procedure, equipment, and material. This is a basic and fundamental principle of SWGD standard. And some more part for regarding this, exchange the digital evidence. First is that standard and criteria. All agencies that seizes, examine digital evidence must maintain an SOP document. All elements of an agency policies and procedure concerning digital evidence must be clear set forth in the SOP document, which must be issued under the agency management authority. Next is the 1.2, that is the second standard criteria. Agency management must review SOP on an annual basis to ensure that their continued suitability and effectiveness. Next is that procedure used must be generally accepted in the field or supported by data gathered and recorded in the scientific manner. Final, the agency must retain copy of appropriate technical procedure. This is a standard for the exchange of digital evidence. And next, in the same manner, and the standard, the agency must use hardware and software that is the appropriate and effective for the seizure or examination procedure. All activity related to the seizure, storage, examination, or transfer of the digital evidence must be recorded in a writing and available for the review and testimony. Any action that has the potential to alter, damage, or destroy any aspect of the original evidence must be performed by the qualified person in the forensic sound manner. It is a basic standard for exchange of the data. So this is the group. Now next is that different devices for digital evidence we can cover. There we have potential to collecting digital information for the forensic purpose. Computer system, the most important part of any digital system. The evidence, if you find in the computer system, where the evidence is found in file that is stored on server, memory card, hard drive, removable storage devices, and media such as floppy disks, CD, DVD, cartridge, and tapes. We can categorize user-created file, user-protected file, and computer-created file. This file. Under what meaning of user-created file? They are address book, database file, audio or video file, document or text file, image or graphics file, internet bookmarks are favorite, and a spreadsheet where you can obtain information of investigation value. User protected, they are compressed the file, misnamed file, encrypted, password protected, file hidden, and steganography like this. And computer created file, they are backup file, log file, configure file, printed spool file, cookies, swap file, hidden file. This is a general system file and Windows file. So this is a by default computer due to the help of the user. Yeah, you can say activity of user, they created such types of file. So now discuss what is the nature of uniqueness of the electronic evidence. The first most important intangible, some rules, some volatile, some fragile, already discussed in the previous data, same type, require special tools, extraction, collection of preservation. So this is the basic nature of the electronic evidence. So now digital evidence, for example, in the same volatile evidence, so like memory, network connection, running process, open file, and non-volatile evidence, you can collect hard drive, USB storage, floppy drive, floppy disk, CD, DVD. And now when you collect the digital evidence data, so keep in the mind your volatile data, which is the least and which is the high nature for removal. In the case you can say it will be destroyed. So least you can say as the cyber criminal point of view, you just think I act as a cyber criminal. So in this case, where we data try to store maximum, minimum, what consideration. So there is in this slide, we just focus where is the least preference, where is the high preference of evidence. So least preference data will be in hard disk, remotely logged data, raw disk block, Memory, mediums, you can say temporary file system swap, but high data is possible that is not easy to erase by the criminal. This is a CPU, caches, register content, routing table, ARP, process table, and kernel static. Is a system normal user not go and erase easily. It may be highly high talented required in this case. Non-volatile evidence, hard disks, RAM, archive media, paging file, log store, and remote system caches. Where data is typically found in more, you can say this is the by default in your computer system. If we can go for the more data collection for forensic purpose, so you can find where in email message deleted. Also, you can check office file, a deleted file of all kinds, encrypted file, compressed file, temporary file, recycle, picture, video, web history. So this is the in this PPT just we showing just rough idea data where you can find. Now, digital evidence examination process. So now we go for next digital evidence examination process. What process? So here some idea when you collecting for forensic point of view. So here one by one step in on your screen. First we go for evidence assessment. In the upcoming we can explain about this also, some basic idea. Assessment, acquisition, then preservation and examination analysis. Your collection is okay or not. If you once again your collection is okay, then evidence documentation, and finally it produced for the purpose here reporting. So first we go for evidence assessment. Digital evidence should be truly assessed with the respect to the scope of the case to determine the course of the action. Conduct a true assessment by reviewing the search warrant or other legal authorization, case detail, nature of hardware and software, potential evidence and circumstance surrounding the acquisition of the evidence. Now it depends on you how to this some point when evidence assessment. So first priorities of the evidence when necessary, location where is the evidence is found, or stability of the media to be examined. Next is determine how to document evidence like photograph, sketch, note, and access the need to provide continuous electric power to be the battery operated. Determine the condition of evidence as a result of packaging, transport or storage, and evaluate storage location for the electromagnetic interference. This assessment you can say. Next is that to prepare acquisition, evidence acquisition. To prepare acquisition for the evidence, all the actions and outcome of the previous phase of digital evidence examination process should be determined properly. Documentation that help in preparing the evidence acquisition. Initial estimate of the impact of the situation on the business organization, like a detailed network topology diagram that highlight the affect computer system and provide detail about how those systems might be affected. Next is the for acquisition summarization of interview with the user and system administration, outcome of any legal and third party interaction, and the final acquisition reporting and log generated by tools used during the assessment phase. So a proposed course of action as per your experience, knowledge, or due to the situation. Now, preparation for the search. Before preparation, a warrant to be seized all the all are part of the computer system, and the information it contains, it is critical to determine the computer's role in the offense. For example, a counterfeiter might use his computer scanner and color printer to scan US currency or other currencies and then print money. A drug dealer may store record pertaining to customer prices and quantity deliver on a personal computer. A blackmailer may type and store threatening letters in his computer. Attacker often use their computer both of attack other computer system and store and stolen file. This is a preparing of the search. Now seizing of the evidence. A computer is used to store the evidence, then the storage media should be seized in addition with other devices. While running program to collect analysis information, the books found in the skin should be collected to understand the program. The suspect should be prevented from touching the system. And when seized, the computer should not be powered down. So keep in the mind, this is just a general idea and general rule for the seizing the evidence. And imaging is also important part. Remove the subject storage devices and perform acquisition using the examiner system. When attaching the subject devices to the examiner system, configure the storage devices so that it would be recognized. Ensure that the examiner storage devices is forensically clean when acquiring the evidence. Now bit stream copy, for example here, bit stream copy is a bit by bit copy of the original storage media and exact copy of the original disk. Bit stream image is the file that contains the bit stream copy of all the data on a disk or partition. The computer should not be operate. Computer evidence should not be processed until bit stream backup have been made of all hard drive and floppy disks. Here I just give example. Here original disk, image disk, and target disk. The transfer of the data original disk to image disk to target data. So creating a bit stream image, transfer each bit of data from the original disk to the same spot on the image disk. And finally, you can create bit stream copy. Now write protection. Write protection should be initiated if available to preserve and protection original evidence. Create a no value for the subject evidence. Prior to acquiring the evidence, perform an independent cyclic redundancy check CRC MD file hashing. If the hardware writing protection is used, for this, install a write protection devices, boot the system with the examiner controller operational system. If the software write protection is used, boot the system with the examiner control operating system, active the write protection. So finally, we go for the evidence acquisition. Digital evidence is fragile and can be altered, damaged, or destroyed by improper handling or examination. In case of the failure, evidence may be unusable or it may lead to an accurate conclusion. Acquire to the original digital evidence in a manner that protect and preserve the evidence. Evidence acquisition from the crime location. Here some more idea. Acquisition, how to at crime location. Disassemble the cases of the computer to examine to prevent physical access to the storage device. Ensure that the equipment is protected from the static electricity and magnetic field. Identify the storage devices that need to be acquired. These devices can be internal, external, or both. Document internal storage devices and hardware configuration. Drive condition, make, model, geometrical size, jumper setting, location, drive interface. Internal component like sound card, video card, network card, including media access control, address, personal computer memory card, international association card. Disconnect storage device using the power connector or cable from the back of the devices or from the motherboard to prevent the destruction, damage, or alternation of the SI. So always keep in the mind, when you go collection the data, so never go for the shutdown. Just unplug power from the backside. Evidence acquisition from the storage devices. Investigate the geometrical of any storage device to ensure that all the space is accounted for, including host protected data area like non-host specific area data, such as a partition table match the physical geometry of the drive. Capture the electronic serial number of the drive and other user accessible host specific data. Verify successful acquisition by comparing the known value of the original and the copy, or by doing a sector by sector comparison of the original to the copy. Acquiring the subject evidence to the examiner storage device using the appropriate software and hardware tools such as stand-alone duplication software, forensic analysis software, suit dedicated hardware devices. Now collection of evidence one by one. First is data on digital evidence can be collected either locally or over a network. Next, acquiring the data locally has been advantage of the gather control over the computer and data involved. Other factors such as the secrecy of the investigation, the nature of the evidence, and time frame for the investigation will ultimately determine whether the evidence is collected locally or over the network. Create accurate documentation that will later allow you to identify the evidence that is collected. Determine the investigation method to use. Typically, a combination of offline and online investigation is used. In offline investigation, additional analysis is performed on a bitwise copy of the original evidence. In an online investigation, analysis is performed on the original live evidence. What is the method? Collecting from the storage media and record storage media. If internal storage device are to be removed, turn off the computer first. Before turning off the computer, verify all the volatile data has been captured. Determine where to remove the storage devices from the suspect computer and use your own system to acquire the data. Create a bitwise copy of the evidence in a backup destination, ensuring that the original data is write protected. Document the internal storage device and ensure that the information about their configuration is included. Verifying the data collected, create checksum and digital signature where possible to stabilize that the copies data is identical to the original. Evidence can be collected from the live computer by searching process register, virtual and physical memory, network state, and etc. Same volatile and important sources to evidence on the live system and command used to be the capture evidence. So here some command. This is a typically running process as per the procurement file system. active network connection, like a net start is the command, and ARP cache by ARP, list of open IOSF, virtual and physical memory, Day-2, this is a common command. This is some technical command. If you are a regular use, that is easy. Otherwise, keep in the mind. Now, computer sensitive data collection. So you have here the some group, here some website guidance for the software in case it will be help to what is types of tools. Okay. So try to in your online management LMS portal. I will share some tools through a link, storage location. There you can obtain some tools for collecting evidence. Okay. And collecting evidence from the RAM. When an application is open, RAM stores the file presently in the application. The memory is lost when files are closed and is used by the operating system for other file storage. Do not power down the computer, which may destroy the critical information. Evidence can be present in the RAM even after wiping it from the hard disk. To locate it, wipe the file from the hard disk from opening it using a wiping tool. Use a utility DD2 drive to write the content of RAM into hard drives, which is general purpose Unix utility. Copy and is useful for the creating forensic image. So RAM is a very important part, and all file folder is very important. Trace evidence in the swap file. So when RAM memory is available to allocate memory for application, the operating system transfer the RAM content to a temporary swap file to use the RAM memory for a new application. The contents in the swap file are overwritten frequently. The examiner can trace the swap file by the searching the header and footer associated with the particular file. Now, a standalone computer, collecting evidence from a standalone network computer. Do not use the computer for evidence search. Photograph all the devices connected to the computer. Do not turn on the system if it is in off state. If the computer is on, take a photograph on the screen. If computer is on and screen is blank, so move the mouse slowly and take it a photograph on the screen. Unplug all the cords and devices connected to the computer and label them for later identification. If the computer is connected to the router and modem, unplug the power. After the collecting is the most important, handling the digital evidence. Protect the electronic evidence from magnetic field, dust, vibration, and other factors that may damage the integrity of the electronic evidence. Wear protect latex glove and searching the seizing operation on the site. Pack the magnetic media in anti-static packing. Store the electronic evidence in a secure area and climate controlled environment. Avoid folding and stretching storage devices such as disketters, CD-ROM, and tab drive. Use wireless stronghold bag to block the wireless signal from the getting electronic device. Where is store and archive this evidence? When evidence is collected and ready for analysis, it is important to store and archive the evidence in a way that ensure its safety and integrity. Best practice for data storage and archival include some parameter, here in this PPT. Physically secure and store the evidence in a tamper-proof location. Ensure that no unauthorized personnel has access to the evidence over the network or otherwise. Protect storage equipment from magnetic field. Make at least 2 copies of the evidence that is collected and store 1 copy in a secure off-site location. Ensure that the evidence is physically secure, for example, by placing the evidence in a safe, as well as digitally secured. You can use also camera, physical camera physical location. Clearly document the chain of the custody of the evidence. Create a check-in and check-out list that include information such as the name of the person examining the evidence, the exact data and time they check out the evidence, and the exact data and time they return it. It's a very important store and RCU. Now, evidence examination. General forensic principle apply when examination digital evidence. Already is planned in the previous. Yeah, we have in your during training after finishing, I share complete handout for this training through the LMS portal. It will be, you can again examine what is the general principle rule for digital evidence. Different types of cases and media may require different method of examination. Person conducting an examination of digital evidence should be trained for this purpose. The examination should not be conducted on the original evidence. Now, preparation of working directories on the separate media to which evidentiary file and data can be recovered or extracted. Extraction, there are 2 different types of extraction, physical and logical extraction. In the physical extraction phase, identify the recovered data across the entire physical drive without the file. And logical extraction phase, identify and recover file and data based on the installed operating system or application. Physical extraction, during the stage, extraction of the data from the drive occur at physical level regardless of the file system present on the drive. The following some method: keyword searching, file carving, and extraction of the partition, table, and unused space on the physical drive. Performing a keyword search across the physical drive may be useful as it allows the examiner to eject data that may not be accounted for by the operating system and file. File carving utility process across the physical drive may assist in recovering and extracting usable files and data that may not be accounted by the operating system and the file system. Examining the partition structure may identify the file system present and determine if the entire physical size of the hard drive accounting for. Now, logical extraction. During this stage, different step: extraction of the file system information to real characteristics such as directory structure, file attribute, file name, data and timestamp, file size, and file location. Data reduction to identify and eliminate no file through the comparison on the calculated hash value to the unauthenticated hash value. Extraction of the file pertinent to the examination method to accomplish this may be based on the file names and extension, file header, file content, and location on the drive. Recovery of the deleted file, extraction of the password protected encrypted and compressed data. Extraction of the file stack, extraction of the unallocated space. Now analyze host data. Host data include information about the operating system and application component. Procedure used to be analyze host data as per here. One first is identify what you are looking for. There will be a large amount of host data and only a portion of that data might be relevant to the incident. Examine the operating system data, including clock drift information and any data loaded into the host computer memories to see if you can determine where malicious application or processes are running or scheduled to run. Examine the running application process, network connection, use tools such as Windows, Internal Process, Explorer, Logon Session, and PS file to perform this task. This storage media collected during the acquire the data phase contain many files. Analyze this data file to determine their relevant on an incident, which can be documenting text between the storage media such as hard disk and backup tapes often contain hundred of the thousand of the file. Procedure used to extract and analyze data from the storage media collected or like use file viewer to view the content of the identify the file, which allow you scan and preview certain file without the original application that created them. Perform offline analysis on a bitwise copy of the analysis evidence. Study the metadata of the file of interesting using tools such as Encap. Determine whether data encryption was used such as EFS system, Microsoft in Windows in case of search the content of all Ghaziabad file to help identify file that may be interested. If necessary, uncompress any compressed file and archive. Create a diagram for the directory structure. Examine the registry of the database that contain Windows configuration information. Identify the file. The investigation focus on the examine image of the file. So what procedure used in the analyzed network are? That is the network file service log. Examine a network service log for any event interest. Firewall, what types of firewall use, and pack sniffer log. View any packet sniffer or network monitor log for the data and might help you determine the activities that look placed over the network. Analyze the data more here for you. For example, analysis of the process interpreting the extracted data to determine their significance to the case. For here example given to this significance case, time frame analysis, data heading analysis, application, ownership, and position. Analysis may require a review of the request for the service, legal authority for the search of the digital evidence, investigation leads, and analytical leads. In the time frame analysis, determine it may be useful to when event occurred on a computer. So what method we can use the time frame analysis? Reviewing the time and data stamp content in the file system, metadata, last modified, last access, for example, when created, when changed, you can identify. For example, an example of this analysis would be using to last modified data and time to stabilize when the content of the file were last changed. Second method for the time analysis is the reviewing the system and application log that may be present. These may include error logs, installation log, connection log, secure like this. For example, examination of the security log may be indicate when the username password combination was used to log into a system. Take into the consideration any differences in the individual computer data and time as reported to BIOS. Data hiding analysis. Data can be concealed on a computer system. Data hiding analysis can be useful detecting the recovering such data and may indicate knowledge, ownership, and retain. So what method? The first, correcting the file header to be the corresponding file extension to be identify any mismatches. Presence of the mismatch any indicate that the user intentionally hide the data. Gaining access to the all password protected, encrypted, and compressed file, which may indicate an attempt to conceal the data from unauthorized user. And steganography is the very technical professional method. Many files, applications and file analysis. So many files, program files identify many content information relevant to the investigation and providing insight into the capability of the system and the knowledge of the user. Result of this analysis may indicate the additional step that need to be taken in the extraction analysis of the process. Here are some examples. So examination of the file content, considering the relationship between file, like example, correct relating internet history to be cascade file and email file email attachment. Examine the user default storage location for the application and the file structure of the drive to determine if file have been stored in their default alternate location. And more, examine user configuration setting. This is application file analysis. Now we go for the last. This is the process for the completion of the data collection. Documenting the evidence. Documentation is the digital evidence. Examination is an ongoing process. First is that. Therefore, it is important to correctly record each step during the examination. Report should be written simultaneously with the examination. Presentation of the report should be consistent with the departmental policies. The common consideration list that help the examiner throughout the documentation process include the operating system's name, software, and install patches like text note when discussing with the case investigator. Document any irregularity encountered during the examination. Preserve a copy of the search authority and chain of the study documentation. Include data, time, complete description, and result of the each action taken in the documentation. Write a detailed note about the action. What is the digital forensic report? Here are some just one by one. First, we make to some point you may consider title. Please include the name of the case, investigator in charge, and relevant date. Table of content. Second, just like a book, your digital forensic report should list out every section and map out the corresponding page of the chapters. If you are using a popular text editor like Microsoft Word, this section can be auto-generated. Case summary. This section should have provided a general overview of the case. Do not include too much detail and try to avoid technical jargon if possible. Evidence. The summary of evidence submitted comes first. After that, you should be list one after another, including screenshot if needed. Besides, make sure to provide an explanation for each. In this section, it is fine to list any relevant hardware specification, such as the model name, serial number, like objective. In essence, the objective session should be attempt to answer the question of what you are trying to prove. That being said, what was the objective of the investigation? Don't forget to include your hypothesis and any relevant such term. Next step, taken during an investigation, that is the forensic analysis. This section should be outlined the step taken during the investigation, including digital forensic methodology use and interactable part of process. Tool use. What digital forensic tool did you rely on during digital forensic investigation? Outline them brief and explain what purpose each of them serve, including any limitation of said tool, attaching a screenshot of the process and describing it is make help to sound clear and more understandable to follow for the non-industry professional involved in the case, legal purpose or legal procedure. Relevant finding, reiterate the most important conclusion here and don't afraid to go into many detail as so you see fit. Anything you state here should be directly related to the main objective of the digital forensic investigation. Recommended next step, this section should be short. In it suggests what you counsel can do with this finding and how to go from here. This is a mandatory part. Now some optional part for the writing report, like appendix, not required, but it can make a break a case sometime. Formatting, this is mainly for the sake of the document having a professional appearance, having each page marked with the number of, also make it easy to detect. If someone try to tamper with report by removing page, make sure the logo of your law enforcement organization is clearly visible in the header and footer of each page, as well as a corresponding address and persons in charge. There is a figure. It is also not important, but it is optional. Your digital forensic report, you will likely contain various figure scattering throughout the documentation. And finally, glossary option at some point when you're writing the report, there had no other applications, some technical words, terms, reference you can here mention. Okay. Now the last part of the today's session, electronic crime and digital evidence consideration by the crime category. Electronic crime and digital evidence considered by the crime category. So here you can compare computer interaction and death investigation. So in the computer intelligence, address book, configuration file, email note, executable program. So you can compare in the same manner in the death investigation, address book in the computer and death in the both same, configure file, this is diary, email in the both case the same, executable program, here the financial asset record, internet activities log, here image, internet protocol address, internet activities log, internet relay chart log, medical record, tax file, username and password, here telephone record, source code. So this is a comparison and both case mein. And gambling. What is the gambling? Customer database and player record. Customer information or credit card like electronic money, sport betting, static image player. Some extortion like date and typing timestamp, email note, history log, internet activity log, username like this. Economical fraud including online fraud and counterfeiting, check, currency and money order image, credit card scamper, image of signature, false financial transaction form, false identification, and another email threat, harassment, stalking, internet activity log, in this case legal document, telephone record, victim background research, email note, letters, financial and asset record. Here are some, in the today we are living in new era. So here are some data working in digital forensic lab is available. In India, in New Delhi, the capital of India, a big digital forensic lab available in Delhi Police. And sometime this is the, you can help up the digital forensic lab. So it is the most usable to in the today. And upcoming time is very good in the cyber forensic world and easy to collecting any evidence. So here is the just information, all help of the digital forensic lab. So you inform to data recovery here. So here some innovation is here. After the case accepted, put alongside digital evidence collecting from the multiple sources and type into the repairing. Consolidate the digital evidence with the complete file imaging. Proceed with the data recovery and extraction. Make them structured and exported, ready for big data analysis. Intangibility analysis, various elements via big data analysis by multiple forensic tools from us. You can, your organization by the third party. Based on the result from the big data analysis process with the case discussion internally, submit forensic report in the application. So this is a complete diagram. It will be help to overall digital data, digital evidence. Okay. So now today we go for the conclusion or overall today's session in the summarize in the this PPT and help end of the hopefully you are this is very important. So this session is and this PPT and everything I try to follow line to line. It will be easy to understand to you and more detail I will be share in the handout. But in summarized form as a presentation form, you can compile this PPT report. So now what conclusion for today's session? So digital evidence, also known as the electronic evidence, is the data or information that exists in digital format that can prove or reveal the truth about a crime and can be relied upon the use in the court of the law. Therefore, different types of digital evidence offering unique types of information. Here we categorize in the two broadly evidence from the data at the rest, like any device storage. Secondary, data anticipated while being transmitted, anticipation of the data transmission and communication. And where is the data evidence sources? So from internet and computer and portable device. Internet like evidence obtained from the internet, including information collected from the website, communication, email, message brought, chat room, file sharing, network, and intercepted communication. Same in the computer are repository of the information with evidence obtained using a special extraction method. Two information may have overlap with internet sources. Computer provided many unique and notable pieces of the evidence, including timestamp, IP address information about the BCN and MAC address. Portable device, it include information, a smartphone or like tablet, other handheld devices, gadget. This is the portable devices. Making digital evidence permissible. For evidence to be deemed permissible in the court, its security and extraction method must be ensured that it adhere to the rules of the digital evidence. Digital evidence, like any other evidence, can be tampered with. It's one thing to identify the email address from which a correspondence seems to be originate, but it's another thing to prove that the alleged culprit is author. All evidence has to be collected and put through some form of process before it's presented in the courtroom. Digital evidence must authentic, whereas it's permissible in the court or not will be depend on how the evidence were obtained. Handling method and documentation of its chain of the custody from its situ to its presentation in the courtroom. At every stage, it must be ascertained that evidence not be alternate in any way. So there is some more digital evidence rule, legally acquisition, digitally handled. And the first rule is the legally acquisition. The first rule of admissible in the legality of acquisition of the evidence. This involves stabilizing wherever the evidence was obtained with the appropriate authorization tools, including search warrant, consent, and agency. A search warrant which is give legal permission for investigator to search a victimicity, properties, and personal effect. Consent which is given willingly by the person or party concerned to the investigator to access an area, properties, or personal effect to help with investigator. Agency which entail that situation present a level of urgency required. Investigator can carry out search. Now, digital handling, the second rule that govern digital evidence admissible is the handling method of digital evidence. Digital evidence can be volatile, and any mistake in the handling the information or devices can give the defendant grounded to nullify it. A proper system of the chain of the custody process must be observed and maintained. So this is the session regarding very important session, and every point, every statement is important. I can't go outside my real PPT word because it is a legally document. So I try to focus only legal words for all of you. And it is important for collection of the digital evidence and procedure of the digital evidence. So hopefully all of helpful and enjoying. And I know that this is a very lengthy, but it is important. Sometimes if you find out hard, more, so definitely be patient and be carefully to read out. Any questions, any doubt, if you have mind, so you can ask. Not only live session, you have also asked your doubt and question. They are created a chat box in the learning management platform. So anytime you can put your question in the chat, offline or live line. There is no problem. So any question, any doubt? Today the session is over now. Again, see you tomorrow with new part of the cyber forensic. It is the new part in the cyber world. Initially, our stage start from the normal internet, then go high-speed internet, then a lot of application on internet, and then cyber security first come, and finally cyber criminal is here. So how to counter, how to identify their criminal. So this is the cyber forensic. This is the last stage of the cyber world. Okay. So thank you for all of you. Have a nice day. And any question, any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, session you over. Thank you, Muhammad Abid. Thank for your messaging. Thank you so much. But one more thing, this current PPT is the legal types of PPT. So we not go outside from the PPT. Every word is important for today. Okay. So thank for today. And see you again. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste. You can ask him. Thank you.